In a bid to keep the peace talks afloat amid continuous attacks perpetrated by Pakistan-backed Taliban militants and Islamic State insurgents in Afghanistan, U.S. Special Envoy Zalmay Khalilzad arrived in Kabul looking to broker peace between Afghan government and Taliban negotiators. Meanwhile, in a similar process, Afghan President Ashraf Ghani held a consultative Grand Assembly in Kabul, influencing the peace talks in the war-torn country, a report.
Late in the month of April, U.S. Special Envoy for Peace in Afghanistan Zalmay Khalilzad arrived in Kabul to keep the peace talks afloat in the war-torn country where Pak-backed Taliban militants have been continuously targeting civilians and security forces to hamper the ongoing peace process. Looking for a possibility of peace with Taliban, the U.S. envoy based a declaration of a permanent ceasefire and an enduring commitment from Taliban to end the war as two pillars to sustain the peace agreement.
چیزی که طالبان میخواین که درباره قوای امریکا، چیزی که ما میخوایم درباره تروریسم، اگر به موافقان برسیم گپ نهایی نمیشه تا این مسئله و مسئله آتش بس دائمی که ختم جنگ باشه روش موافقه نشده باشه مسئله ختم نیست.
Ahead of his meeting with the Taliban in Qatar, the US diplomat met the Afghan President Ashraf Ghani and apprised him of Taliban's demands, which are primarily focused on the withdrawal of US forces from the country. The US has about 14,000 troops in Afghanistan as part of NATO-led mission known as Resolute Support that is training and assisting the Afghan government security forces in their battle against Taliban militants and extremist groups such as Islamic State and Al-Qaeda.
ما خود در جستجوی یک صلح هستیم، در جستجوی یک حل سیاسی هستیم، نه در جستجوی برآمدن. ما صلح را میخواهیم که امکان برآمدن بده.
Meanwhile, Afghan security forces are engaged in a battle against Taliban and Islamic militants who have been fighting with each other that has caused thousands of villagers to flee their homes in Nangarhar province that shares boundary with Pakistan. Taliban and Islamic State militants have been fighting for more than a week in the eastern border province since Islamic State militants seized 6 villages in that area. Intense and continuous attacks launched by the Taliban and Islamic militants on each other and on civilians of Afghanistan has plunged the country in a state of turmoil. To ease down the situation, Afghan president has been making several attempts to broker peace agreement with Taliban. Known as Loya Jirga, President Ashraf Ghani recently held a 4-day consultative Grand Assembly in Kabul to influence peace talks between United States and the Taliban.
یکی از وظایف نمایندگان محترم در لوی جرگه این است که صلح را تعریف کنند. آیا طالبان به صلح آماده هستند یا خیر؟ شما این سوالات و خواسته های مردم را در رابطه با صلح جهت میدید. توقع مردم این است که شما به همدیگر پذیری و برادری و خواهری درباره صلح و ثبات صحبت کنید.
Since Islamic State militants appeared in eastern Afghanistan in around 2014, the security concerns have further escalated among the top brass in Kabul. Afghan security forces along with US military are now tackling multi-pronged militancy in the country. In the western provinces of Badghis and Kunduz, the forces have been involved in continuous insurgencies against Taliban militants, and the perforated eastern borders have become the launchpads for Pak-sponsored terrorists joining ranks in anti-establishment forces. In such a scenario, brokering peace agreement with Taliban in lieu of US troop withdrawal would hardly bring any stability in the war-torn country.